Hello everyone, my name is Faye and thank you for joining me today as we study Module 8, the element of radiocraft, the music. As a quick recap from the reports of my group mates, we know that there are four elements for creating content for the radio. And these are the spoken word, the music, the sound, and the silence. This report will be focusing on the element of the music. So we have set three learning objectives to obtain at the end of this report. First is explore music's role in radio. As DevCom practitioner, we should understand how music and radio can engage listeners and communicate messages that promote social awareness and development. Second is examine techniques for radio content. Learn specific music application techniques such as transitions and mood setting that enhances the delivery of messages. And last is analyze music influence on listeners. Discover how music shapes listeners' experiences and encourages reflection on the community and societal issues through radio. Let's proceed with the first goal, which is to explore music's role in radio. First is aesthetic appreciation. Music provides enjoyment and pleasure for listeners through its lyrics, melody, beat, and rhythm. This aesthetic role allows music to be appreciated and as a standalone art form, even if listeners have no prior exposure to it. Second is music can evoke emotions. When music evokes emotions, it taps into our natural responses to sound, affecting feelings through melody, harmony, rhythm, and dynamics. A slow, minor melody might evoke sadness, while a fast, upbeat tune can create excitement. For example, this upbeat music, this current background music that you can hear, which encourages us to feel excited about learning. Music also evokes cultural references. This means that certain types of music or musical styles can remind listeners of a particular culture or set of traditions. For example, this sitar music background that is currently playing reminds us of the country of India and its rich heritage and cultural roots. This music reminds us of this country because sitar is the foundational instrument in India's classical music. Music can also evoke a certain period or historical era. For example, hearing jazz might remind people of the 1920s, or a classical piece might evoke the elegance of the 18th century. Now that we have explored the role of music in radio, let's now proceed examining the different techniques of music application for radio content. Radio broadcasters in the Philippines extensively use commercial music. Usually, these are snippets or specially composed melodies as framing mechanism to portray the program's beginning and endings. Imagine it as a section in magazine or newspaper. This is called music as boundary and program frame. An example of it is this from the radio station 90.7.
Sunday Showdown, a celebration of yesterday's hit. Sunday Showdown, the music you remember. Sunday Showdown starts now.
Next is music as a link. Similar to how curtains open and close between acts in a theater, brief pieces of music are frequently played between scenes in radio dramas or segments of long programs to signal shifts in subject, time, location, or setting. Example of it is this snippet from a radio station in Qatar.
Of course, we're still joined in by Mr. Henry Di Maano. Kami po ay magbabalik makatapos lamang ang ilang saglit.
If you'll notice, the radio DJ used the music as a cue that they are taking a break because they have been discussing this topic for almost an hour already. Next is music sets the mood. To enhance the emotions conveyed in a radio message, the appropriate mood music is subtly played as the background, with musical chords serving as punctuators to emphasize actions or statements. Here's an example of the music application from a radio drama series in DZRH.
Buong karangalang inihahandog ng DZRH para sa bagong milenyo, ang isa pang magandang dula mula sa panulat at direksyon ni Salvador M. Royales. May pangako ang bukas.
Nakapagsasalita ka ng ganyan kasi hindi ikaw ang minaltrato. Hindi buhok mo ang halos maubos sa sabunot. Hindi ikaw ang nakaranas tadyakan sa mukha habang natutulog. Halos lumuha ako noon ng dugo dahil sa kaapihan na ramdaman ko. Kaya wag mo akong diktahan. Dahil sa ipinaranas nila sa akin, tumigas ang dibdib ko. Walang sisibol na kapatawaran sa pusong pinaging bato ng kanilang kalupitan!
If you will notice at the first part of that clip, we heard how the music is upbeat and gives a positive feeling, as the narrator says the title of the drama, which is May Pangako ang Bukas, meaning there is hope in the future. Right after that, the radio drama resumed with the main character describing her painful experience, explaining how she will not forgive the people who oppressed her. If you will notice, the radio used two different types of music depending on the emotion of the message that they are conveying to the listeners. Next is music as sound effects. Music serves as a cue for listeners' imaginations, helping to establish a setting, situation, or era. Producers select specific pieces to mark scenes such as battles, saloons, or Spanish settings, and may create custom music in more advanced production for added effect. Example of it is from this radio drama from DZRH as well.
Eh, hambalo ko sa inyo ang kadena ng hawak ko! Eto! Sige! Aray ko! Bumig ko eh! Alis na kayo dito!
If you will notice on this example, the use of music as a sound effect to portray a fighting scene was used. Musical pieces for the radio should be applied properly, whether it is for signature, theme, bridge, background, or sound effect. And here are few tips to ensure that the music will be properly applied in radio content. First is we should use music that aligns with the mood and content. We should avoid excessive background music. We should skillfully manage transitions by fading music in and out or subtly sneaking it in and out. Now, to further explore these transition terminologies, I'll be showing few examples to explain some of these. Fade in means gradually introducing music from silence to desired volume, while fade out is gradually lowering the music from its current level to silence. Let's look at this example from teleradio program called Gising Pilipinas.
Gising Pilipinas! Good morning! Good morning!
Holiday mode! Hindi mo pa nararamdaman ko parang holiday ang dating sa akin
oo.
today.
Tsaka
Hindi pa po holiday.
Huwag po kayong tatamad-tamad. Bumanganap po kayo dahil sweldo ngayong
If you can notice, Mr. Alvin El Chico controls the soundboard to create a fade in and out effect of the background music. Another technique for transition is fade down, which means lowering the music from a specific level to a more suitable volume, while fade under is reducing the music's volume to a background level. Using the same material from Gising Pilipinas, here's an example of it.
bagsik holdapan daw ng taxi driver ni Ko.
Good morning, Doris at Alvin. Naaresto sa hot pursuit ang lalaking ng hold up umano ng isang taxi sa Angono, Rizal. Batay sa report ng pulisya, hindi pa nakontento ang suspect at tinangay pa ang hinold up na taxi mula sa driver nito. Nagbook ang suspect sa Aurora Boulevard, Quezon City.
If you'll notice, the background music at that before the segment was introduced was on a certain level, and then while the reporter was reporting the news, the background music was subtly placed on a suitable volume as the background music. Next is sustain. We can do that by maintaining a consistent volume of music over a designated period during the show. Crossfade is by dimming one piece of music while gradually introducing another music. Next is sneak in, which means gradually introducing music during dialogue or speech, so subtly that it goes almost unnoticed. Sneak out is fading out a piece of music when it is no longer relevant. Example of it is from this teleradio from DZRH.
Sa Luzon, Visayas at Mindanao. Sa pangalan po ni Jackie Resio, ito si Yuel Reyes para sa DZRH. Una sa Pilipinas, una sa Pilipino.
RH Balita! Balita! RH Balita! RH Weather News!
Ano kaya ang latest sa kalagayan ng panahon? Miss Ana Cloren ng DOST Pag-asa. Miss Ana, magandang tanghali po.
Yes, magandang tanghali din, Sir Yuel.
And last is segue, which means transitioning directly to the next piece of music immediately after the final note of the previous one. Now that we have explored and examine the music techniques for radio content, we will now go to the last objective of this course or of this report, which is to analyze music's influence on listener. According to the journal study of Izan et al., music serves as a powerful, emotionally rich mode of communication that unites people through shared experiences and fosters connection across diverse contexts. One of the music's influence to listener is it triggers physiological responses such as chills, shifts in skin conductance, and heart rate changes. Or this is simply what we call goosebumps. You know, when we hear those types of music that gives us goosebumps, it can enhance communication by engaging brain regions linked to reward, motivation, and emotion. Next is music engages social bonding. It improves communication across cultures by bringing people together. For example, as development communication practitioners, if we have a message that targets specific age group, we might want to consider using music that relates to their era. For example, for a millennial, we can play 90s music. That way, we can encourage our audience to engage with the messaging that we are conveying. And third is, it boosts interpersonal communication. According to this same study by Izan et al., music helps especially in clinical settings for individuals with communication challenges, such as children with autism spectrum disorder or for people with dementia. These findings highlights music's potential to tailor communication strategies for diverse needs, opening pathways to improve social bonds and communication efficiency across various populations. That wraps up my report for today, and these are the references I used. To continue our learning engagement, I'll be leaving you with these questions that you can use to answer in our discussion forum. First is, how can music on radio be used to convey messages in development communication? Second is, can you share an example of how music on the radio has shaped your perception or understanding of a social or cultural issue? That's it for today, and thank you very much.